Hey guys, this is Blake. I just wanted to let you guys know before this video starts. It's a little assault game. I tried a lot to get a new gameplay today for the video, but I don't know. It was just a bad day. A little bit into it, the Loki on the other team leaves, and it does end up being a 4v5. But I don't know. It's kind of a fun game, so I figured I'd go ahead and use it because I didn't really have time to to really get another gameplay, and the other ones were just really bad. So enjoy the video, like and subscribe if you like it, and I'll see you guys next time.
Ah, yes, the between season time. Time and Smite where everybody gets to chill out for a little bit. They get to see what the new season's gonna look like. We all watch Pat's Note shows and Roster Apocalypse. That's what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about Team Synergy and Smite Esports Team. Let's dive in. So if you've been on Reddit or really any community lately, you've probably heard some or seen some kind of conversation that goes a little something like this. Oh my god, guys! LG kicked out Xenotronics!
I know. What are they gonna do? They don't have team synergy now. They really need to stay together, or they're not gonna be able to play better as a team. So this is just a really bad move, in my opinion.
And then in the part of the conversation where someone would normally be like, I disagree. I kind of want to be the voice of reason here. Instead, you have someone that goes, I know, guys, right? I know. Fuck them. They should never do this. This is a bad idea. They need team synergy. Team synergy is such a huge part of the game. So I feel like I've got to come in here and be the voice of reason. And I understand that SMITE and many online video games have a very large group of age groups that play the game. So some people may understand this a little bit better than others. But what I'm going to really get into here is why Team Synergy is, I'm not going to say it's overvalued because it is very valuable when it works. But it's not as big of a component as far as team splittings as everybody thinks it is. It's it's way more complicated than that, and that's what I'm going to kind of get into. Anyone who has had the misfortune during school or work to be forced to work in a team environment or a team building environment will know that it sucks. You get put with a bunch of random people you don't necessarily want to be put with. And while this doesn't exactly apply to esports, most people, I was going to say most people in the workplace, but I feel like if you've been in the workplace, then you already know this. And if you've been in the workplace and you don't know this, then there's not really any help for you. I'm sorry. So we're going to go ahead and guide this towards the school age, because that's where I feel like a large amount of this problem is. It's people not quite understanding the way teamwork and team building can work. So if you haven't worked in a team that you had to work in work or school or any other environment, the way it can sometimes go is everybody gets along, and then there's maybe one or two people in the group who can just bring the entire group down. In school, this can happen by one person just not doing anything or being such a problem that the rest of the group could literally fail the project. I mean, this happens to a lot of people. I've never been in a group, whether it be for school or for work, where there wasn't one person who was being complained about. It's just part of it, and it's something that we all learn to deal with, but wish we didn't have to. And that kind of is going to go into my next point. The main thing that I feel that needs to be pointed out about all of this, and the reason it happens, is the presence of options, okay? The players have the option to replace anyone that is a problem. In school, think about let's say you've had group projects in school, or you had to deal with someone, and there was someone in your group that was going to completely just fail your entire group because they were fucking it up so bad. If you had the option to go to your teacher and say, I want this person replaced, and they would do it, would you have done it? I think most people would have. It's just when you have the option to do it, when you have the option to not have to deal with bullshit, 99% of the time you're going to choose not to deal with bullshit. The exception here is women. That's the big one. Most people just deal with that bullshit, but I digress. That's for another day. The next point is really going to be about just whether you like each other or not. And it goes back to the same point with options. If you're in a group or a team with people that don't like each other, or let's say 4 of you get along great, and the 5th guy, we can go either way with this. Either he's a dick and everybody hates him, or he's a nice guy but he just doesn't do enough. He just he doesn't try. He isn't as good. Let's go in a competitive gaming sense here. We go to LAN, and all 4 of the members who don't like this guy or are tired of this guy's sucking show up tremendously. They play their asses off. You almost win, but the one guy just didn't quite cut it. He didn't improve as much as you guys did. He's had a year to do this, and it just wasn't quite there, and you lose because of it. You don't have to hate the guy, but after a year, when you could have done better, you start questioning whether or not you can do better, and maybe if you had someone else in that situation that was a better player, whether he synergized as good as not, whether you would have won. And I think that's really what's going on here. And again, the big thing here is options. In either of these situations, when you have the option to try something else, then why not? Because the thing is you've already lost. I mean, what could happen? You replace someone who's costing you games, or who everybody fucking hates anyway. You replace him, and what? You lose? You've already lost. It doesn't matter. And then the last thing I want to talk about here, the last major part of it, is pay. You'll hear the example of professional sports teams and the players not liking each other in every one of these conversations. You're going to hear that example. And that happens. They are professionals. They do have to put up with each other's bullshit sometimes. But even pay comes along with the example of options. Because if I'm getting paid, $5 million a year to play with some asshole that I don't like, I'm probably going to put up with his bullshit. But if I have the option to replace him, you goddamn right I'm going to replace him. Because that's what you do. You don't put up with bullshit that you don't have to unless it's from women. We've already been over this. The other thing about pay is that these people are locked into contracts. They're different. They're different than esports contracts. They're locked into them. They basically have a boss, and esports just works a little bit differently. These people can be released from their contracts at any time. In professional sports, while they can be traded, they're pretty safe in their contracts. I mean, generally, they're going to get paid no matter what, and if they don't like someone, they do have to put up with their bullshit, but they also, they're safe. In esports, that's not the case. You're putting up with someone's bullshit for $2,000 a month, or in SMITE's case anyway, $2,000 a month. You're putting up with bullshit that you don't have to. I mean, nobody's gonna do that. Again, we go all the way back to options with pay, and the options are just there in esports. There's no reason to deal with someone that you don't like or who you don't respect. And when I talk about someone not being good enough, or just not quite, being at the tip top, I think, in my opinion, it's really an issue with respect. When you have the option to not play with someone that you don't respect as a player, you're going to get someone that you do respect. If everybody on the team is performing better than 1 or 2 people, those other people that are carrying the team, they're just not going to respect those people as a player or as players. It's just, that's not how life works. I mean, they're not going to disrespect them, but they're not going to trust them. They're not going to respect them. Trust is another big issue. It's just, It goes on and on and on and on. If there's problems in a team, then you need to do something about it. And just sticking together isn't always the answer. And the last point is, if there is a problem on the team, as I stated before, something needs to be done about it. But what about what the problem on the team is? Well, that's something that we don't really know. We can't speculate on that. We don't know what any of these teams' issues are. We can guess. We can hear what they say on Twitlonger, which I personally don't think is the right way to handle a team split or a kicking. I think there's more professional ways to do it. I think a bigger part of the issue in SMITE esports is how professionally things are handled. But that's a story for a completely different day. Point is, we don't always know what's going on in the teams, no matter what they say. But they do. They've been together for a year, or almost a year, or over a year, in most of the time. If you're with someone for that long, you know how it's going to go. You know whether you can be on a team with this person or not. And if you look at LG specifically, Barracuda and Jeff Hinla both know how this is going to go. They've been playing long enough to be able to spot this shit from a mile away. They know if something's going to work or not. And you just have to trust them on that and just respect their decision. Maybe not everybody would have done it that way, but there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. Team synergy is not the end-all be-all of esports, and it never will be. There are more important things. And if you do want to talk about team synergy being the end-all be-all, consider that maybe the replacement they're getting, they know will have better team synergy with them. You just, there's not enough. You don't know enough about the situation to be able to speculate anything about that stuff. So chill out on team synergy. It'll be okay no matter what. These guys know what they're doing. If you like the video, even though it's an unpopular opinion, give it a like, subscribe. Let's talk about it in the comments. And I'll see you guys next time.